Here are characters who never show their face. Starting off, we have Man Ray. There was that one time he removed his headpiece and was basically just a headless body, and vice versa. We've seen him in human skin, but he's never been unmasked. Some people think he's an actual manta ray fish, and the bipedal body is just a robot that he controls, so the headpiece is his actual body. Next, we have Dr. Claw from Inspector Gadget. For the most part, we've only seen the point of view of his hand sitting behind a chair, but in rare moments, we actually can see his face, and there was that one face reveal action figure. Wizard Kelly from the Proud Family, we only got one glimpse of his full face near the end of the Proud Family movie when the peanut butter hits the stadium. Then there's Nanny from the Muppet Babies. Guy Kilchrist, one of the Muppet Baby animators, said that Nanny was supposed to look like Miss Cleaver from the series Leave It to Beaver, so you can probably imagine what she looked like. G1 Optimus's faceplate was never removed outside of animation errors, but in the 1985 Transformers Great Car Rally book, we can see an image of G1 Optimus fully unmasked. Charlie Brown's teacher is another character whom we've never seen or heard speak clearly out of womp noises, but in postcards and mats there is art depicting her full body. Characters you didn't know dated. Ed from Ed, Edd n Eddy went on a date with Daphne from Scooby-Doo in a Cartoon Network commercial called Toon Dates. Ed thought she was Ariel from The Little Mermaid, and Daphne was shy at the mention of Double D, thinking it was a reference to something else, not just Ed's friend.
I loved you in that mermaid movie.
Constant talking about Double D made me a little uncomfortable. How am I supposed to compete with that?
Johnny Bravo and Velma been on a few dates together and they really seem to have chemistry. Johnny even asked Velma to marry him, but she told him her career comes first and decided to break things up as she had too many mysteries to solve. Timon was about to marry a meerkat named Tatiana after rescuing her as she asked for his hand in marriage. However, the Duke meerkat refused to accept Pumbaa as a member of his colony, so Timon rejected the marriage and decided to stick around with Pumbaa instead. In the Powerpuff Girls reboot, Blossom falls in love with a character named Jared Shapiro. Many fans speculate that this character is just an OC of the writer for these episodes, Jake Goldman. He only appears in episodes written by Jake, he voices the character, and all of his moments involve him dating Blossom. Scarlet from G.I. Joe and Bumblebee have a lot of innuendos and romantic tension between each other. For example, Bumblebee told Scarlet that she could ride him anytime. Characters you didn't Voices of characters before their biggest role. Roger Bump has the voice of Squidward Tentacles, voiced a character named Chief in the cartoon series Where on Earth is Carmen Sandiego?
Where on Earth is Carmen Sandiego?
Before Roger Craig Smith voiced Sonic in 2010, he voiced Assassin's Creed in 2009.
Por Cristoforo Colombo.
Before Peter Cullen was a talking truck, he was a talking car in the series Knight Rider in 1982.
Ringmaster, I scan no such person.
Tom Kenny, the voice of SpongeBob, played a character named Jimmy Briskin in the series Mission Hill. Jimmy was an Ewok Star Wars actor in the series.
You might know me better as Ewok Villager number 2 from the hit film Return of the Jedi.
Clancy Brown, the voice of Mr. Krabs, is also Sergeant Zim.
The first words and the last words out of your stinking holes will be sir. Do you get me?
Before Seth MacFarlane created Family Guy, he worked on Johnny Bravo and voiced minor roles such as the Magician from season 4.
Ooh, maybe you could take my class. Ooh, magic.
And before Charles Martinet was the voice of Mario, he played Billy Bob in Police Quest Open Season.
Hey, no problemo.
Here are some banned episodes from cartoons and shows. The Dexter's Lab episode, Rude Removal, was way too rude for Cartoon Network. In it, Dexter makes a machine to remove rudeness, but he ends up making super rude clones and polite clones of both he and Dee Dee. As you can guess, the rude clones were the reason why this episode did not air. They swore too much, and even with censorship, it was just way too much. Adult Swim did briefly upload this episode online in 2013 before quickly taking it down. The entirety of Little Bill is basically no longer a Nick Jr. There's nothing wrong with the show's content per se, but because it's based on a young Bill Cosby, you could probably guess why it's no longer on air. The Tiny Toons Adventure episode One Beer was pulled from reruns for being too dark. In it, Buster, Plucky, and Hampton drink a single beer, get drunk, steal a police car, and drive off a cliff. It ends in a vague graveyard scene implying that they died. Even though this was a PSA about not drinking and driving, despite the attempts of a positive message, Fox Kids banned the episode for mature themes. Episode 847 of Sesame Street was banned. The episode was meant to teach kids to face their fears, but the episode was way too scary with the Wicked Witch of the West. Too many parents complained and PBS took it down. The second episode of Drake and Josh Dune Buggy was banned for a brief scene where Drake and Josh ride the buggy while listening to the song Lifestyles of the Rich and Famous by Good Charlotte. Nickelodeon did not have the licensing for that song, and rather than just editing it out and replacing it, they found it easier to just completely ban the episode. Here are characters that never made the cut. Starting off, we have Seth Rollins as Cobra in Captain America Brave New World. We saw leaked photos of him on set, and fans were getting excited to see him portray the Serpent Society character. However, Rollins himself confirmed before the movie came out that his entire character was cut from the film. In Paw Patrol, Timber was a dog owned by Jake, supposed to appear in the series, but was scrapped and replaced by a Siberian Husky pup named Everest, and possibly only appeared in this concept art. Up next is Avengers Endgame. Actress Kathleen Langford of 13 Reasons Why was supposed to play an adult Morgan Stark, who was supposed to be some kind of manifestation to Tony of what he feels like Morgan would be all grown up, since he would never see his daughter at that age. The Russos ultimately cut this scene completely. Next, we have Jack Savage from Zootopia. He was supposed to be the protagonist of the movie, with a James Bond feel. He was eventually scrapped, and they actually had his character evolve into Nick Wilde. Lastly, we have Red Feathers, a turkey companion that was supposed to be in Pocahontas. He was cut because his intended voice actor, John Candy, sadly passed away. Because of this, all the animal characters were decided to be mute. Cartoon characters who only appeared once. We have Bunny the Forgotten Fourth, Powerpuff Girl. The girls bill her from Sticks and Sweetener to help them fight crime, but she wasn't exactly stable. She accidentally freed every villain in Townsville, then heroically takes them all down before literally exploding. Makeshift from Transformers Prime disguised himself as Wheeljack, and the writers feared he'd be too powerful for the series, so he was killed off in that very episode when Wheeljack stuffed a grenade in his chest. Lala Vava from Dexter's Lab was Dee Dee's rival and Mandark's sister. Cool idea, never followed up. There was so much potential there. Bendy from Foster's Home, possibly the most hated one-off character ever, caused chaos, got away with everything. Fans hated him so much the writer apologized and retconned him completely. Next, we have Vicky's little brother, not her other sibling Tootie. Vicky had an unnamed brother who was mentioned once in the pilot episode and never seen again. There was that one line Vicky saying, "Just ask my little brother." Butch Hartman later made a video where he drew the imagined character on what he might look like, but aside from that, he was never mentioned in the series. Remember the Ember Island players from Avatar? Hilarious roast of the main cast, Toph loved her buff actor, blink and they were gone. Lastly, Frank the Combine Harvester from Cars, a terrifying tractor bull who scared Lightning McQueen half to death, one scene iconic status.